Hello, my name is Mayana and today I'm going to be recommending you fall books. So originally I wasn't gonna film this video, but if you followed me on Mayana Reads, you know that fall is my favorite season and I love doing fall recommendations. Like I do it every single year, and so I really didn't want to do it this year because I feel like I didn't really read enough fall books within the previous year. But I think I'm just gonna mix together like books that like I really want to recommend for fall, and they may have been books that you've seen before. And I know you think that you see this pile right here, but you don't, because I don't feel like turning it around to be like a surprise. So you don't see this. Let's just get into it. So one book I recommend all the time to people is Pumpkins. I think that this book is super cute. It's about these two people who work in a pumpkin patch, and so they are friends and they end up falling in love with each other. This is the only friends to lover books that I think deserve rights. It's a graphic novel, so it's very quick. I remember I read it like right when fall was about to start, when my sister was heading off to college for the first time. I read it in the car and I just had the time of my life. I think that the art is really cute. I really wish that this got like a sequel, or like more like a spring one, a winter one, or like holiday ones or something. I don't know. I need more. The pumpkin patch is so cute. There's a map in here, and I just love it. It's so much fun. I just highly recommend it to literally anyone. I have a new book that I haven't gotten a chance to recommend to anyone, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I gave this book so one thing about me is no matter what I rate a book, I'm gonna recommend it because I know that there's someone out there that might find this book and love it. So I don't mind recommending books that I don't particularly love, or like that I'm not absolutely obsessed with, because one, I know it's a small selection, and two, you never know like what could be someone's new favorite book. Just because it isn't yours doesn't mean it might not be everyone's taste. So I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. I don't even know why I'm actually recommending this one, because I mean, this is a very popular book, but also I think that like maybe if you don't know when to read it, I'm just suggesting that you read it in fall. So I'm not even gonna say like this is real a recommendation, because this is popular. Like, come on now, I'm probably like the last person to read this book, but if you have yet to read it, fall is the perfect time to read it. Okay, then we have my favorite book to recommend, which is Small Spaces. This is a middle grade series about this girl who ends up finding this book. She stole it. Okay, actually she stole a book. She found this book, and the book is about this girl who ends up being stopped in the middle of like a cornfield with these scarecrows that come to life. And then she's on this field trip and the bus ends up stopping in the cornfield where the scarecrows start to come to life. And it has found family because she's more of a loner, and she ends up becoming friends with these other two characters, and they actually end up like having adventures. So this is a fall, so this book has like seasonal ones. So there's a fall one, there's a winter one, there's a spring one, and there's a summer one. I've only read the fall one, but I do own the winter one, and I'm gonna try to like, I keep trying to push it off until the winter, and then when I read it in the winter time I don't really care. But also I live in Michigan and it's like winter like 90% of the year anyway, so like I really have nothing but time to pick that book up. But yeah, then we have Middle Game, which is my favorite book of all time. I rarely ever talk about this book, I notice, and so this year I'm gonna try to start recommending this book a lot more and talking about it a lot more. But Middle Game is about these two twins named Roger and Dodger. One's a boy, one's a girl. They are separated at birth. This has alchemy in it. They were separated at birth. They have a quantum entanglement, which means that they can hear each other in their minds, but they don't, even if they don't live in that same space. Like they end up talking to each other, they end up discovering this relationship with each other, and they live in different states. And then it's about like their memories being erased, but no matter how many times they find each other. One of them is really good at math, and then one of them is really good at language. And like I said, this has to do with alchemy. And you don't have to be a smart person to read these books. Like I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want to read this book, but I feel like you have to be really smart to read it. No, you don't. If I can read it, so can you. That's all I have to say. Not saying I think I'm a dumb person or anything like that. It's just like I never thought I was that smart either. Like I had that, I'm telling you this because I had that same perception. Like I never thought I was that smart either. And then I actually gave these books a read, and I'm like, oh, these are actually like really easy to read. It's just so funny how adult fantasy works, because like you'll literally see a book and you will think you're the dumbest person alive, and then like you'll read it and you'll be like, this is what I was scared of. So I'm kind of matching the cover too. Like black and blonde. Okay, I hate that. I don't know why I said that. Okay, so then I have Big Little Lies, which I think could either be read like towards the end of summer or fall, but this starts like during the school time, and like the show just gives like this cool like beachy small town aesthetic. So this is about this mom, this is about a bunch of moms, but it's about one mom in particular who moves to this small rich town, and she sends her son off to school for the first day, and it comes back that he like bit one of the kids, and she knows her son, she knows that he would never do that, but one of the other kids is claiming that he did. And so this actually ends up doing a domino effect and leading up to someone dying at the end of the book. And it's just so amazing. I love the moms in these books. I love like mom books. Even though I'm not a mom, I can't wait to be a mom to like reread these books or like read more of these, because I love these like mom type of books and I think they're so fun. And I got my mom to watch the show and she absolutely loves it. She won't read the book for the life of her. My mom is the reason why I read. Okay, we used to go to the library all the time because she wanted to get her a book, right? And all of a sudden she gets her like this job, and she's been at this job for years, and like she just loves working, and all of a sudden she doesn't want to read anymore. And it's like, girl, who are you? I don't even know you anymore. You know what I'm saying? So my mom loves the show. I love the show. I love the book. I love the vibe. I actually want to reread it. Like it's perfect. Like read it. It's thick. It's a thriller, but it's not really at the same time. Like there's a mystery in it. So if you like, I feel like anybody can read it. If you're a thriller reader, if you're not, like, just read it because I said so. I'm tired of explaining myself. I have Ninth House, which, I mean, come on now. Would this be a fall recommendations if I don't try to slip Ninth House in there? Hellbent is out. So, you know, or you can keep putting it off until the third book comes out. I don't really give a fuck. I feel like this series is not for a lot of people. I've had a lot of people like tell me that, or like I've had a lot of people like try to read Ninth House, but they just couldn't get into it, or like just felt put off by it. And it's like understandable, because I know like not a lot of people like can get into the book, but I promise once you actually like sit down and get into the book, you will get it. You will get it, right? So I just think it's like really fun, and it's dark academia. It's about this girl named Alex who can see grays, and she's basically put in charge of, she goes to Yale, and she's basically put in charge of like seeing over this secret society who does like rituals, just making sure they don't do anything weird or like release anything that shouldn't be released, because she can see these ghosts. And I love it. And Darlington is my book boyfriend, and if you know me, you know that I don't have many big book boyfriends, so when I call someone my book boyfriend, I mean it. Then I have Pallbearers Club, which I accidentally put in this one because I'm going to do a spooky book recommendations, because there's a huge difference between fall and spooky books. But I was going to take this off, but it's so short. I'm going to recommend it in both videos. Like, I don't care. I'm so sorry. But I decided to leave it in this one because one is short, and I feel like this is a good book to read like right when you're getting into October, right? So this book is about this guy who is writing this book about how he thinks one of his friends was a vampire. And I love that this book has like such an open ending, and she's annotating this, she's reading this book, and so you see her annotations like throughout the book. Like you can see her annotations throughout the book, like in the margins. And like I read this on audiobooks, like him thinking that she's a vampire, and so the girl that he thinks was a vampire is reading it and she's like annotating. And I read this on audiobook, and I feel like like how they insert the annotations was just put so perfectly. I listened to this one while I was playing The Sims, and like during the fall, and it was like the vibes were vibing, bitch. The vibes were vibing. I love me some vampires in any form, like whether it be like smutty vampires, or like showing how evil vampires are. Like, I don't care. I love me some vampires. So then I have Legendborn, which I just feel like it's the perfect fall read. This is about this girl. It takes place like King Arthur. I feel like this book should have been set in college, but whatever. It's about this girl who is in high school, and she's at this college, and it's hard to explain. Actually, now that I think about it, it's really hard to explain. But just know it's by a black author. A lot of people love this book. A lot of people really relate to this book. I thought it was fun. I just wasn't really in love with it because there are some things that personally I just can't, doesn't sit well with me. But a lot of people like this book, so I'm just on the outskirts. So like, why would I not recommend this book to you just because I didn't really like, I'm not obsessed with it. I still liked it, I'm just not obsessed. And then I have Hinch, which is one of my favorite books of all time. I read this book last summer. I personally feel like this is good for fall. This is good to read whenever, but I personally feel like this is good for fall because it's about like superheroes. And so this is about this girl who is a villain. She's a henchman, and it's more of like a temp service henchman, and she fights this superhero, and he ends up breaking her leg and leaving her really injured. And so she goes to report it because I think she either wants compensation for it or something, because he did like endanger her. And they basically tell her no, because he's a superhero and he doesn't own her shit. And she's like, oh, word. So she decides she's gonna team up with the superhero's arch nemesis, the villain, and it has like this cute little like villain romance. It does not happen until the last sentence, okay? Nothing happens to the last sentence. I love me a book where I can be delusional, and that's exactly what this is. And I thought the romance was like, I love when the romance is like there but not there. Like it was so much fun. I love this book. I love like the anger, and I love superheroes. Like if you like The Boys, you'll like this. Then I have Night Swim, which is one of my favorite thrillers ever, which I rarely can say because I am not a thriller girl. This is about this girl who's doing this podcast, and so she's going to do an episode in this small town about this crime that's currently going on. One of the girls in the town emails her and is like, hey, there was a crime that happened with my sister a few years ago and never got solved. Can you help me? And so it's actually about her sitting through this trial that's currently going, and then the case that happens. Trigger warning, this does talk about like some really dark topics. I highly recommend you check out the trigger warnings. I want to say them, but I don't know like if like YouTube censors you, so I'm just gonna recommend that you look into it yourself. But personally, this book made me cry. I just thought it was like so good and so beautiful, and like yes, there's a plot twist, but I mean, and I like the plot twist, but I think that even if there wasn't one, I would have loved this book, which is rare to say because I don't like thrillers unless they have plot twists. And then I have Pretty Girls, which, I mean, the trigger warning is out the gate, okay? Any trigger warning you could think of, this book has it. I really love this book. Like, this book was so good, and I don't talk about it a lot. Like, I don't know why. I guess because it's so popular that I think it just goes without being said, but I think I need to talk about it more. Just because everybody else talks about it, like, I want people to know that I love this book. So this book is also a thriller, but it's like, it's a thriller, but it's like dark as hell. It's about this girl damn, what is it about? It's about this girl. Okay, it's about these sisters, and in the early, okay, how the fuck do I explain this book? Okay, it's about these sisters, and there were originally 3 of them. One of them ends up passing away when they were children, and so then you fast forward to current times, and one of the sisters' husbands ends up being brutally murdered, and so she ends up like seeking help of her other sister, which they are estranged, and it's about their relationship with each other, and I just think it's really good. Okay, it's very dark, very fun. I really like Karen Slaughter's like dark books. I really need to read her a little bit more. I just feel like sometimes I feel like once you really get into her, a lot of her books read like very similar, and I kind of like needed a break from that because she writes about sisters a lot and like estranged sisters, and so I kind of needed a break from that. But I'm ready to get back to her, and I actually hope that I read her a little bit more. And then lastly, I have a Stephen King recommendation, because what is fall and Halloween, or fall without Stephen King, right? So this one is like not very spooky. It just has like fall vibes. It's also about superheroes. I think Stephen King's strong topic is writing about kids and like children and children facing evil. I think that's a very strong topic for him, because a lot of my favorite books that he's written are about like kids and like dealing with like evil. And so this one is about this boy who wakes up, and he wakes up in the middle of the night, and then intruders and murder his family and basically kidnap him. He's awakening again, and he's in this institution, and it turns out that he has superpowers, and every kid in the institution also has superpowers. And it's about like how corrupt the institution is. It loosely relates to Firestarter, which, I mean, all Stephen King books kind of relate to each other, but this one loosely relates to Firestarter, and I just think that it's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite Stephen King books. It's in my top 3, I believe. Very fun. I love it. I highly recommend this to anybody, people who want to get into Stephen King for the first time. I will say though, he does write the N-word in all of his books, and I wouldn't feel right without like recommending a Stephen King book without letting you know. I probably should have warned you before instead of after, because then you're probably like, oh, this book sounds good, and then I just told you that, and you're probably like, well, I don't want to read that shit anymore, which is understandable. I definitely get that. But that is it for this vlog. I hope that you liked it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for my fall videos, because I love fall. I love spooky season. That's when my videos are the best. Like from September to December, I feel like my videos are the best, and that's when I have the most planned out and the most videos to do. The beginning of the year too, I would say, like from my birthday, which is August 24th, so the end of August till like maybe the middle of February, that's when I have like the most video plans. But I feel like people love like my fall videos the most, because I really put in my time, work, and effort for fall, bitch. Okay, so definitely check me out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.